The Gen Z lord of liberal crashouts, Dean Withers, has been making a lot of slop, and we're going to review some of the highlights of his disaster of a career. Being known as being a 5 foot nothing agitator of Charlie Kirk, he has apparently done wonders for the conservative movement in making an ass out of himself. Let's get right into it. Just a warning, this video is going to be pretty insulting, and we're going to hit him on all the things that count. What really aggravated me against Dean, by the way, was that he basically tried to get his people to dox, call her into a show, and call CPS and to remove his child because he was against gender-affirming care for his minor children as a theoretical. So the guy clearly is an evil person, and he lacks talent, and just because he's a year younger than me is not going to prove to spare him any roast. So let's get into it. All right, this is going to be good. I am losing my mind. All right, this was less than a month ago.
Losing my mind. Everybody, trying to keep you guys updated with what's going on with Israel, Iran, and America has been a nightmare over the course of the last couple days, and today that nightmare only persists. So last night, me and every other journalist on the planet reported that
Okay, you make YouTube videos where you argue with other people, and when you dislike their opinions, you try to get their kids removed because you're the type of person. Secondly, actually, when I think about it, I think Dean's parents, assuming he had both, right? They should have had CPS called on them in 2004 because clearly they raised a guy who's going to be doing the same thing to others in the current year. I think had Dean been put into foster care, he'd be, I think, markedly less effeminate, less hateable, and somehow the foster system might have treated him better, to be clear. Now, let's let him dig a hole.
Donald Trump had announced a ceasefire agreement between Iran and Israel. Well, after Donald Trump announced that ceasefire agreement, Iran responded by basically saying that, no, he's lying, there is no official ceasefire agreement, but we
Keep in mind that it's been about a month, and the ceasefire's been more or less intact.
will hold to the terms if Israel also holds to the terms. And then when the ceasefire went into effect, Israel came out and they were like, Iran broke the terms, they bombed us. And then Iran responded by saying, no, we didn't, Israel's lying.
Okay, journalism, by the way, is you just explaining something like how a second-grade history teacher would explain the Civil War, really?
And then Israel responded by breaking the ceasefire agreement and bombing Iran. And then Trump's response to all of this has been that both countries broke the ceasefire. But here's the really confusing part. So after Donald Trump said both Israel and Iran violated the ceasefire, he then said that the ceasefire was still in effect. And that's what's going on right now. It's a big mess. It's so confusing. I'm losing my mind. But I'll make sure I keep you guys updated with what's going on.
Bro, that was the worst update ever. Holy God. All right, so here he's bothering to wear a suit. He kind of combed his hair. I mean, the hash browns have moved to the side, and by that I mean his bangs. Very disgusting. Is he balding? Not quite. He just looks like it. Again, looks like a tweaker. Probably some sort of addict to God knows what. That anxiety pen he claims has no nicotine in it. We don't know yet. Probably would help him. Chill the hell out, okay? I'm not against Adderall. I'm on it, actually. But the difference is that it kind of makes me competent. I can focus on boring people like the one on the screen in the blue suit. But this guy's been tweaking his whole life. Probably got cues from Destiny off the Vyvanse. Let's see.
Senate just passed one of the worst bills in American history. You should watch this video because it'll impact the rest of your life. Donald Trump's big beautiful bill is so bad that it is on track to be the most expensive bill in American history, adding $4 trillion to our debt. This has caused
Okay, first of all, the debt, the calculations vary. And the thing about a 10-year bill with an economy that is about $40 trillion is that when you move a percent here or there, it makes a couple $1 trillion move here or there over the span of 10 years, right? There's such a thing as dynamic growth. And honestly, a $4 trillion debt limit or whatever that's imposed is not accounting for tariff revenues, and it's not accounting for the economy growing, and it's all variable, so it could really be subject to change.
2 Republican congressmen to step down. And Elon Musk, Donald Trump's old right-hand man, has responded by calling the BBB utterly insane and destructive.
Elon's not a good source.
If you are in college on student aid or planning to go to college on student aid, well, there's a big possibility that you will be saying goodbye to a significant portion of that.
Just get better
grades. This bill intends to revoke the Pell Grant for around 2/3 of recipients. It also plans to completely eliminate student aid for graduate students.
Base.
It also looks
They're
like
all liberals. Have you seen graduate students? Do they vote like 2/3 liberal at least?
bill is going to be taking away healthcare from 17 million Americans while defunding hospitals.
That's bullshit. No, that's not true.
In rural areas in this country.
That's cap.
Because of this, 340 hospitals in these rural areas are expected to be at a risk of closure. And if you don't complete...
Being at the risk of something is not even close to the real thing. I mean, like if you're driving, you're at risk of dying, of being in a totaled accident, right? Of course. So what is a risk? What does that mean? Does that mean the funding goes down by 10%? Does it mean it goes down by 0.5%? What is it?
Completely lose access to healthcare because of the big beautiful bill. Healthcare premiums for middle class Americans are expected to increase by $26,000 per year. And then
That's mathematically impossible, you dipshit. See, this is why being an adult matters. Again, I'm like literally a year older than this dude. I'm 22. And I even know that healthcare, number one, 26 grand to be spending total is notable, right? People don't usually spend that much on healthcare per year on average. So for your premium as a middle class American who already doesn't even spend 26 grand a year, presumably on average, for it to go up 26, it's fucking ridiculous actually. Okay? That's just dumb. If you said the healthcare premiums will go up like 5% per year, okay, I can believe that. But instead you just say, "Oh, it's going to triple." Okay, thank you.
fortunately, that's not all. It's also expected to cut food benefits by 30% because of
Have
these
you seen the people on EBT? Are you kidding me?
cuts. 11 million low-income Americans will be at risk for losing some or all of their food benefits. And I'm still
Keyword
not
risk. Okay, they're all potentials. This is like allegedly this, allegedly that. Cold hard facts not to be found.
done because the BBB is also expected to cut the production of renewable energy resources in America by upwards of 72%.
Okay, so you're saying by that he means that we're going to defund these tax credits to things that aren't proven to work.
This is not only setting America up for certain future failure,
About how? If we have more oil and more energy output than before, even if you remove the green energy, then how the hell are we setting up for failure?
it's also expected to raise the costs of energy for the average American household by $400 per year. For all
That makes no sense.
of these reasons and more, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities tells us that 80% of Americans will be significantly hurt because of this bill. And if
Are you fucking insane? Really? Really? How? Also, good thing you didn't mention the entire crux of the bill is cutting taxes on the middle class and to maintain those. You don't give them credit for that. You're just saying all the little things that could go wrong. It's actually plain stupid.
find yourself asking, well, who is it supposed to help? The top 1% of income earners in this country are expected to take home additional hundreds of thousands of dollars per year.
That's how taxes work. If I pay billions of dollars in taxes and you cut my taxes by even 0.1%, I'll save millions of dollars just definitionally, okay? So yes, people that are poorer than the 1% are going to save less money because they fucking paid less money. The rich pay the majority of the taxes. Is it not true that in New York City itself, there's like dozens of people that end up paying the majority of the city municipal taxes? That's how the economy works, okay? And guess what? When you cut the taxes for the rich, they're the ones that are going to have to hire new people, buy new technology to further invest into their companies, or else they'll get outcompeted by others. That's called private market competition, free market competition. Dean is leaving that out purposely.
And the tax cuts designed for them implemented in the BBB. I'm going to be blunt. This bill is a malicious weapon strategically designed to help the most wealthy among us via a redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich.
No. No. First of all, poor people don't really pay taxes, obviously, okay? Go to a homeless person, they're not paying squat. People even that are making blue-collar workers, you think they're paying more than, let's say, 15%? They're not, but the rich are. And when they're getting deductions, that's for capital investment, for losses that are deducted, etc. They're the ones that are going to drive the economy more than the consumers when you really look at it. On top of that, really, to say this is a wealth redistribution scheme, like, wouldn't you tell, like... I mean, from the Republican point of view, wouldn't you just say, okay, well, we're going to raise the taxes on the middle class and the poor, and we're going to cut them for the rich? Dean would say, well, actually, that wouldn't float with the base, so therefore they got to cut taxes for everyone. Which, yeah, true. Yeah, that's fine. But he's player hating on the rich. And I would say, don't hate the player, hate the game. And how come every champagne socialist or pretend capitalist like this dude, how often do they hoard all the money they can get and climb up in the economy, look no further than Hassan Piker himself or Bernie Sanders? And it just contradicts their whole flow of, oh, the rich got to pay more. Do you want to pay more? You can volunteer more money, donate to the IRS directly. You won't. You'll spend it on Adderall or whatever. All right, so basically, this is the most recent thing Dean has uploaded in the past few days, yesterday actually. Breaking news, a bombshell on Trump has been released. Now, I picked this one not only because it's the most recent, but also because it's going to be the hardest one to defend because Donald Trump has been taking an L on the Epstein files, and I still defend him on that because I'm loyal and I'm smart, and we'll see what he says.
Breaking news. The Wall Street Journal just reported that they were able to obtain a letter that Trump sent to Epstein for his 50th birthday.
Oh my fucking God, dude. Oh, okay, sorry, dude. Oh my God. Sweet Jesus, look at that hair, brother. Oh my God, he's balding. Oh my... Dude, he was born 2004. This guy's like 20 years. No, he's like, yeah, he's like 20 years old and he's balding like crazy. Jesus, like even his hair roots are like white too. This is horrible, bro. He's got the dude. Richard Nixon had better hair than this dude, man. Oh my God, wear a hat, wear a Democrat hat or some shit, man. God damn.
Trump sent to Epstein for his 50th birthday that included the picture of a naked woman in a statement, "May every day be another wonderful secret." The Wall Street Journal says that this letter contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appear to be hand-drawn by Trump. They're also telling us that...
So Trump wrote a letter that he type wrote. Who the what? But so like they're implying that he wrote part of it right with his hand and then had like a typewriter for other parts.
Trump's signature was below her waist, mimicking her pubic hair. They go on to say in their reporting that the final line of this letter read, "Happy birthday, may every day be another wonderful secret." So we know that Trump didn't want the files released. We know that he's been calling them a Democrat hoax. We know that he's been telling his supporters to stop talking about Jeffrey.
Look, the whole thing is disarmed. What Dean is saying is disarmed by the fact that the Democrats were sitting on the files for 4 years and did nothing about it. Where was Obama saying, hey, let's release this? Gavin Newsom, again, pre-2025, where were they saying release the files? Hey, Joe Biden, release the files. Kamala Harris, will you promise? They don't care. They don't care. They beat the MAGA people over the head with the Epstein stuff, but they don't actually care. It's a virtue signal. That's why I don't care about the Epstein stuff that much either. It's not a top 20 issue for me personally. It doesn't affect my life.
And he's even gone as far as to call some of his supporters that are still talking about Jeffrey and don't buy his claim that it's a hoax stupid. And now we're hit with this. This very seriously has the potential to change everything for the Trump administration for very obvious reasons. By the way, it's also worth noting
Teflon Donald Trump, he can shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and he's going to keep the base. Suffa.
that Trump has already called this reporting fake and has already threatened to sue the Wall Street Journal.
Based.
Anyways, that's all for now. I'll keep you updated as this very insane story continues to progress.
Okay, great journalism, classic Dean W. I think I called CPS, I'm not going to lie, I called CPS on his head. He's apparently lost like 20% of his hairline at this point. It's rough. By the time I make another video on him in the future, he might be bald. I'll keep y'all posted on that. See, I'm a journalist, but I'll update y'all on people's receding hairlines, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.